Good morning, one and all. A warm welcome to the fifth day of SVTP schedule on phytochemical isolation, standardization, and biological evaluation of herbal medicine. Today's first session is about phytopharmacological research, study design, and preclinical studies by Dr. Satish Kumar sir. For that, I invite Tanmay to have a brief bio sketch of today's speaker.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Today it's my pleasure to speak about the Dr. M. Satish Kumar sir. Sir is IQAC coordinator and currently sir is working as head of Department of Pharmacology at Bapatla College of Pharmacy, Bapatla, Kundur. Sir has received his PhD in Pharmacology at Acharya Nagarjuna University and Masters and Bachelor's degrees from Dr. MGR Medical University, Tamil Nadu. Earlier, sir was program coordinator for pharmacy and health programs at Texla, America University. He was an accreditation panel expert for Higher Education Authority, Ministry of Higher Education, Republic of Gambia. Sir has served on university and college stationary bodies and committees such as Governing Council, Senator, Board of Studies, Academic Programs, Accreditation, Research Ethics, and Quality Assurance. Sir is a recipient of 3 national awards for his research in malnutrition and industrial effect management. Sir's research interests lie in the area of preclinical neuropharmacology and pharmacoepidemiological studies. Sir has authored quality research papers and book chapters in the area of preclinical and clinical pharmacology. Sir has so far received 4 research seminar grants from UGC, AICTE and ICMR. Sir has required experience and expertise in accreditation and academic audits related activities of higher education institutions. With a brief introduction, I would like to invite our resource person, Dr. M. Satish Kumar sir, to take over the session.
Wearing the mask kindly. So, may I know how many of you are from outside, please? Other than Rohit? None. No, from SK. You are also from outside? Morning. On the outside, I thank the management of Viper. And I also thank my management, Bapatla College of Pharmacy, for giving me this opportunity to deliver a topic on phytochemical research, how to design the study and how to conduct the particular study, with a focus on preclinical studies. To isolation, characterization, extraction of phytoconstituents, but because of some technical issues, I wanted to start with the leather. Now, this is not directly related to my content, but I just wanted to introduce this to the audience. can see here, this is a order form from the ICMR Medicinal Plants Division. Some of you might have seen, some of you may not be seen, especially students may not be knowing this, but remember this content which I am showing, for some of you, maybe in future, this information will be very helpful. So here, can you slightly move this to the top? Okay. So here, there are 8 different books mentioned here. For example, first one is Reviews on Indian Medicinal Plants. So, ICMR, Indian Council for Medical Research, through one of its to know how to write a review on an Indian medicinal plant, or to make use of the data, you can refer to this particular book, which has volume from 1 to 22. Now the second one, Quality Standards of Indian Medicinal Plants. So whatever medicinal plants which are mentioned here, for those plants, there are some quality standards which are prescribed or which has to be determined. So a complete detail on the quality standards of the Indian medicinal plants, volume 1 to 17. So there are 17 volumes of different Indian medicinal plants. So you can understand what is the meaning of this quality standard, what are the contents of this quality standards, everything I think you might have known, or go and search for this book and see what is there in this. So I am just introducing the title alone because I don't want to go in detail on this. And the third one is very, very important. We have some Indian medicinal plants and we get many phytochemical reference standards from that, and how to standardize that, and what is the monographs of all that. Everything is available in this particular book. There is 4 volumes under this particular title. And there are 3 thematic books. What are the various Indian medicinal plants which are available for the management of liver disorders? What are the various Indian medicinal plants available for the management of lymphatic filariasis? And what are the various Indian medicinal plants which is there for the management of diabetes mellitus? So in each of this target disease area, what are the different Indian medicinal plants available? That complete data is available in these 3 individual books. And you have another one more, which is the safety review of certain Indian medicinal plants, more for safety, and it is, as of now, it is only 1 volume, and very recently, volume 2 is going to be published. And in general, what are the various medicinal plants available in India? So that book is also available, and volume 2 is being published officially. Okay. So there are 8 different titles. I'm not sure, Riper, how many of these titles it has? Sir, any idea about? Is there any such title which you have heard? It is available in our library.
Indian medicinal plants, sir.
Indian medicinal plants.
Yes.
Which one?
First one, sir.
This one.
Yes.
It is there.
Yes.
All the 22 volumes.
I don't know exactly the same, but medicinal plants, regarding medicinal plants,
Yes.
we have
Now,
Kanishar and Basu, and also Indian medicinal plants, sir.
Okay. Ma'am, SK University, botany. I think you will have something.
Books are there, sir. I don't know. This is the particular title is
Yeah.
not.
So kindly, by this I want to share this for researchers, whoever is going to do phytochemical research. More than this, you won't get any detail. Everything will be very clear. You will get an idea. How should I write a review? What all the things should be there in a monograph? Every single information will be there for the most of the commonly available medicinal plants in India. Excellent resource. So my recommendation through this session is, I come to know about this in 2008. By seeing that book, I was very happy. At that time only, I was having an opportunity to get about this reviews of Indian medicinal plants, and then we had this phytochemical reference standards. So immediately I referred to my college, and then we brought it for our library. Except to me, nobody else knows that such a book is available in our library, and nobody has the interest to go and read on that particular book. such an useful book. Just type ICMR Medicinal Plants Division and you will have so many drop down menus. You will find order form and then just to see the title. In your future, that means even after 10 years down the line, if you think that I want to know some detail about a medicinal plant, immediately go and search for this title. Remember my name. Remember this ICMR order form. Remember about this STTP happened in Riker. That you have some data with this particular books. So individually if you want, go and order directly from ICMR, get that copy. And you don't want to buy all these books. About which plant you want. You can know the contents of that particular book title. And only that particular book alone you can very well purchase from ICMR. And for the faculty members, my recommendation is just to try to explore these books, and if at all if there is a chance for you to spend some money for your department, it is not just relevant to pharmacognosy. I am telling you, for pharmacology this is an excellent source of information. If you want to write a quality review article, you can get a lot of data from this. All are authenticated data. You don't want to go to multiple sources. So such a wealthy information is there, and can you move a little. And the price is also very clearly given here, and you can see for all these volumes from 1 to 22 volumes. As of now, this ICMR itself doesn't have volume 1 and 2 and 3 out of stock. The total cost, including postage of this maybe like 19 volumes, together cost around 22,000. So overall, all the 8 books, if you want to completely procure, approximately it will come under 45,000. But this 45,000 rupees will be a very big resource for cognosy and pharmacology department. And as I told you, as an individual student, 5 years, 6 years down the line, if you want, I want a data about only one particular plant. I don't want to invest all this 45,000. Just very clearly, only that particular volume you can purchase from ICMR. Can you move from? See here, very clearly they have even quoted the individual price of the books also. For example, a medicinal plant which is only relevant to you, you want to know the detail. For example, it is found in the contents of volume 11. Only that volume 11 of that particular book you can procure by paying 1878 plus 123. 123 rupees is postal charge. So you go through the content, see which plant is relevant to you, only you get it. You want to know about a phytochemical compound, its monograph, only you procure that particular book by paying that amount. So for the college or for the department, you spend 45,000, you will have a wonderful data with you. This is what I want to happily share, because such a resource is available. You can use this information for many purposes. For your research you can do, you can write a review on that, and that's why I just wanted to make sure that everyone retain this information even after the session. That's why I made a photocopy of this order form, and then whatever copy which was distributed, in the first page that information is there. Just always remember that. Okay. Now I'll go ahead with my presentation. I think I am audible, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Next. Okay. So I don't want to explain what does the statement mean. Self-explanatory. If you want to do it alone, you will do it very less. But if you do it together with many people, you can do so much. There is no limit at all. So what is the relevancy of this particular quote with what we are discussing now? I'll just share my brief experience. So after my masters, that means my masters was completed in 7. From 7 to 2017, I hope 10 years. This 10 years, what I have done? I have done 53 publications in this 10 years. And after 10 years, I came to know that out of this 53 publication, only 3 are real publications. So only 3 quality. Remaining 50, now I understand that was a writing experience for me that created some interest, but as of now I am feeling that they are not of desired quality, substandard. But I won't neglect that 50 publication because at that time I was very curious, I was very interested. It gave me the interest of writing something. So whether quality or non-quality, but something I got out of it. So out of 53 publication in 10 years, now I feel only 3 years of the quality, required quality. And this is another one more data. Out of this 53 publications in 10 years, only 7 are my own study. That means I have done that study and I am the corresponding author or the first author. Remaining all are, maybe I have guided somebody or I might have helped somebody to write that manuscript, or because I am in that department, my students might have used my name. So I own only this 7 papers out of this 53. Now coming to presentations, that is paper presentations, poster, oral, okay, like many other. Within this 10 years, I have done 31, starting from within the college to up to national level. So 31 there, and went to 3 different countries, presented 3 different presentations over there, so 3 international. My PhD work was between 9 to 15. Within this period, for my PhD purpose, I published these 3 papers. So what I mean, out of this 53, 3 are from my PhD work, and this 3 falls under this 7 first other category. That means from my PhD I got 3, 7 first other papers, 4 only other than PhD. So see what I have done. I think you understand what meaning I am trying to bring. Then within this 10 years, I got, means for my institution we get 3 seminar or workshop grants, just like how now this is happening. Different grants, 3 funded research grants, 2 UGC minor projects, and after this, or immediately after my PhD was awarded in 15, and chance to guide 2 of my scholars and many PG and UG students. And one area which I am personally very much interested out of this is, I have a very big interest on doing some sort of a consultancy work or a collaborative research work. What is a consultancy? You have small facility in your college, but a neighboring college doesn't have that facility, or they wanted to utilize your facility. So they will come and ask you, can we do together, or can you do it for me? So either they pay for that activity, or if they are unable to pay, just they will provide the required things. You do it for free, but with the permission of the management. Okay, so that will be coming under collaborative, with or without money. Consultancy, more of whatever is the minimum expense which is required, that will be paid by the person. So I am very much interested on this, especially on the preclinical area. Now, this is my 10 years data up to 2017. But after 2017, my view on all this aspect completely changed. Okay, then I realized, okay, from this I got something, I got some experience, but this is not something which I am expecting after 10 years. So now, after 10 years of doing all this, I started realizing, or I came to know about the words research impact or research identity. What is a research impact? I have highlighted this, that, I have done all this. But what is the impact of it? What is the use of this? So after doing all these things for 10 years, what impact I have created? Not for others, at least for me, what I have done. So I don't have an answer for this. Sometimes I feel ashamed. Sometimes I feel shy that I have not done something, what to say, unique, or I have not done something, what to say, the best. And what is this? With so much of data what I have shown here, do I have any identity for me? Can at least I rate myself whether I am a researcher, not a good researcher, at least can I consider myself as a researcher? I am not completely ready to answer this question. I don't have a research identity. I cannot identify myself as a researcher. So these two questions came into my mind after doing this 10 years of work. That's why I don't want to show what I have done after 2017. For the past 3-4 years what I have been doing, I am not going to show. Okay, but I want to give a hint that we have to work on something. But naturally, you will learn by time. That also I know. Okay. Now, I told you I have done so many things in the 10 years. Now, after 2017, by attending various sessions, by meeting people, then I came to know that research can be showcased by different ways. So, whenever we do some research, we always think that it is only for the purpose of paper, publishing paper in journals. And in recent past, for the past 10 years, people are giving more importance to patents. But other than these publications and other than patents, there are many other ways to showcase your research potential. Okay? So now what are they? You do some quality work, present the data in your B Pharmacy thesis. That is a research output. That means in your final year of B Pharmacy, you do some quality research work, a simple work. You do a proper statistical calculation. You write a proper discussion. Submit the thesis. Still, it is a good research output if you have done it genuinely, even though it's a small work. Not only at the UG level, PG, PhD, whatever level you want to go. So thesis or dissertation is synonymous. Next, it was a very common trend 10 years back. You do some work, go and present it in a conference or go and present it in a seminar, either as a oral paper or as a poster. Now, in the past 3-4 years, poster has been revised with e-poster. Okay, so but for many years this was very much in trend. Do some research just for the good purpose of going and presenting at conferences or seminars. Still, it is not outdated. Still, it is there. It has a meaning. So, if you do some work, whether it's a very small level conference or whether it's a international conference, irrespective of all these levels, go and present your paper. You get some confidence out of your presentation. Don't think that I have not done something very unique or I have not done something big. Even though it's very small, but just go and present it confidently. But what you need to understand is, by going and presenting there, it's not to prove yourself. What should be your ultimate aim? What other people are presenting? What is their work? What sort of work they have done? And whenever prizes are announced, we feel that I will be very sure that my name is not going to come because I know how I have done. But when I hear somebody's name is announced as a winner of oral or poster, not just listening to their names, you have to understand why they got it. Whether it is due to the work they got that prize, or whether it is because of their way of presentation they got that prize. You can get from both. By what sort of work they have done, you can learn from that. Even though you don't think that work is not something different, nothing is there in the work, but that boy or that girl presented excellently. That's why the examiners were very much convinced by that presentation and then they gave the prize. Presentation is also very, very important. Got it? Got it? Okay, so still you can explore this. And this is one thing which is often neglected. Many colleges will say that I am going to conduct an exhibition. You can go and showcase your research. You can print a poster, show that this is what research I have done, this is the product I developed. But people will not give that much of importance for these exhibits. But in abroad, a lot of significance is given for these exhibits. Exhibit is in public domain. So whatever you showcase it in public, you are the owner of it. Got it? Okay? And there are few people now, they are trying to write an article in a newspaper, or they are writing in a magazine, or they are writing in their own blog. And some of you students itself might have on different occasions written something, a literature based or something like that, and then you might have given it in the newspaper. Okay? Not just a general literature based one. You can also think about writing your research work, okay, or your research summary as one of the article in the newspaper. You can do it. And of course, this is going to be everlasting. You do some research and showcase your research potential by writing either a review article, research article, short communications, case reports and editorial. All these are different. You can explore all of this. You can you read and think and understand what is the difference between all this. That's why again I am telling you, I have given all this in the printout also. So it is there. Okay? Just start looking into what is all this. And you can also present your data in the form of a book. It may be a single authored book, it may be a jointly authored book, or it may be an edited book where you are an editor of the book. And to start with, you can start with writing one book chapter in a book. And this is one area which I am trying to highlight. Do some collaborative research. I came to this particular program. I am not even 1% interested in moving anywhere in this COVID time. But only reason why I came, knowing that it may be a risk. Though I am 2 times vaccinated, maybe 1 month before I completed both of my vaccines, I know that sir is also vaccinated. Though it's safe, but still there is a fear. But the only reason is, go and explore a new institution. Go and see what these people are doing. Who are the people who are doing the research in that particular area. One single information you learn from them. I am going to carry this for my lifetime. I will remember each one of their names. And I will come to know that, okay, this information I got from this institution. That's the only purpose which made us to travel 400 kilometers to reach to your college. Is there any possibility of a collaborative research? That is our personal intention. Consultancy. Sometimes you are ready to pay money, but you want the work to be done. You have the facility. We are ready to pay it. But when there is a facility available, we want to use it. Consultancy research and other things. When you do all these things consistently over a period of time, and when you develop expertise, when you develop that interest over a period of time, you don't want to spend from your pocket. Once you have established yourself, government is going to sponsor, industry is going to sponsor, people who are in need of such work is going to sponsor you, or they are going to fund your research. Your college is one of the leading institutions where you conduct events with funded. This event is funded by ACD, right? Like this college has n number of projects, and you have displayed in your website that our R&D output means like what are all the grants obtained in your college. Everyone who are sitting here, who are from Raipur, should feel happy that this institution has this much of potential. Whether you know that or not, people outside know that. At least I know that. Okay. So look into your website, get some detail, get inspired, go and tell happily to the others that my college has been doing all this. And whenever you get an opportunity, go and get involved in that particular work without any conditions. If you invest in these sort of activities at your early part of your life, it is going to do wonders. And again I am telling you, it is not department specific. When you are a B.Pharmacy student, you are not related to one particular department. You are common to all the departments. Even though you are a PG, though you have got admitted in Sutix, it doesn't mean that you only belong to Sutix. Remember that I am common for all the departments. If you think in that way, it will be much useful for you. If you limit yourself, it will be limited. Of course, nowadays, patents are given more meanings. Every institution, whether it's a private, autonomous, affiliated, university department, private university, government university, institutions of national importance, whatever, everybody is thinking about getting patents at the individual level or at the institutional level. And sometimes you do all these things without anything in your mind. Sooner or later, all your works will be awarded. It will be recognized, and then you will also get fellowship from the leading research societies. Okay? So whenever you see your principal, your R&D director, your faculty names and your designation, behind the names, they keep something like M.Pharm, PhD, FIC. Okay? Something like FIC. So you may be wondering what is all this FIC, all this. So all these are recognitions. All these are fellowship for their expertise in that particular area. So search for all such information. Why they kept that abbreviation? What is the meaning of it? How do they get all this? So that will give you some sort of an information that will inspire you to do something more. So different research outputs, it is there in your material which I have shared with you. Okay? Keep this safely. Whenever you get an opportunity, try to bring your own impact on all this, in all these outputs. Don't limit only with paper. Okay? Try all these aspects, and as much as you do, it will be beneficial. Okay? So now, this is another one small area. Now, in recent times, I am telling to everyone. Okay? I have done some quality research. At least personally, I have become very happy that I am doing something good. I am trying to showcase it with other people. But how can I showcase to somebody whom I have never met? Whoever is in abroad, how can I showcase my research potential? So there are some platforms, okay, which you can use it, and these are which is going to be very useful. Now, right from B Pharmacy to the faculty members, just first sign up or create an account in all these databases. In some of these databases, you cannot enter your details because that may need some minimum publications. But still, at least try to create an account and then see whether you are eligible to create that particular account. At some point of time, you will understand, yes, if I need to create the account on this particular profile, I need to do something. Okay? So I have listed all these things. So if these databases are not just to showcase your potential. Remember, in future, if you want to get a good job, these profiles will be very, very useful. Now and then you do something, update in all this profile. Without your knowledge, somebody will be noticing you. And when they understand that this person is correct one, this person is somebody whom I can take, they will contact you through that. And one such thing is this LinkedIn. 15 years back, when you want to apply for a company, you have to send a mail or you have to send by post. There will be n number of applications. You will see from which institution this fellow is. Based on that, they will at least consider reading your script, or they will simply throw it off. But now it is not like that. MNCs, top companies, recruiters, they don't look into the hard copy of your profile. They look into these sort of things. Your LinkedIn profile. Okay? LinkedIn profile and all the other standard databases. So for a B Pharmacy level student, it may be little new here, but remember, these are something which is going to get you a better PG opportunity in India or in abroad. Those who are already in PG, to do your PhD or to get a good job in an industry, these profiles may help you. And those who are already at the faculty level, now it is very much mandatory for you to have an account on all this, not just an account. First to create an account and then see what are the things we have to fill, and to fill all that you have to do something and then you have to fill. And not one time, lifetime. So when you do this, it is going to do. Out of all these things are international, and the one which I have highlighted at the top is an Indian database, Vidwan. That means you are a scholar or you are a researcher of India. So it's a government database where you can enter your profile, and it is more important for a faculty. And most of you will be knowing whoever has applied grants. Hereafter, already it is there, but hereafter, if you want to at least apply for a grant, whether you get it or not, it's a different story. To apply itself, you should have a Vidwan account. Okay, so, and don't wait for that time. For example, if you are a final year student, if you are an M.Pharm student, don't wait for that time to create an account when you become a faculty. Now itself think what is the detail there, what sort of inputs are required, and start doing from now so that you will have enough data to submit it on that particular time when you come to that level. So here I am not discriminating whether you are an UG student, PG student, faculty or an experienced faculty. This is applicable to everyone. Applicable to everyone. You get some information basically. Okay. So keep all this, and it is there in the data. Okay. Now straight away coming to our topic content. How much time is there? When I started? When I started?
10:30.
So how to select a research area? This is basically towards pharmacology, but it can be applied to any specializations in pharmacy. Okay. So come up some of the important tips I'll rush through. First, if you want to be a good researcher, you should have the habit of reading scientific literature. First you read, understand, then you think about your own and then start doing it. First read. Okay, so spend some time in the library. There are many such institutions which have a very good library resource, but nobody will be there to go and utilize that. PCI says this many thousands of rupees you have to invest for subscribing e-journals, for subscribing printed journals, and college will be spending 30,000, 50,000, even 1 lakh per year to subscribe all this printed journal, e-journals, everything. But it will be there in the library. Only librarian knows what is being subscribed, but people doesn't go and read that. Now, if you want to excel, go and read. Not only your textbooks, journals and e-journals. Start reading from them. Sometime back, this was very common practice. We were very much mad in going and attending conferences, seminars. But over a period of years, this interest has come down very drastically. People are not nowadays interested in attending seminar or conferences. I don't know what is the reason. You go and attend seminars and conferences, and I want to help because the faculty members are here. I want to say one simple example. During my B.Pharmacy 4th year or during my M.Pharmacy 1st year, Indian Pharmacology Society conference was conducted in Nagpur. A very big auditorium place. There are many sessions happening simultaneously. On the one particular day, morning session from 9 to 10 o'clock, one hall was mentioned. There is one session fixed for that. At the same time, there were 5 other halls in which 5 different speakers were speaking. That means 6 sessions on the same time. In one room, for example, 70 people can be there. Another room 70, another room 70. 6 speakers are speaking continuously. All these rooms are like this circle. I wanted to attend any one of the sessions, just to go through that day's schedule. And then I found the name S.K. Kulkarni. You know S.K. Kulkarni? Who studied pharmacology, expanded pharmacology. S.K. Kulkarni name is very common. Out of all the 6 speakers, only this name is very familiar because I have read Kulkarni several times. So I want to go and see what is this man speaking. I went to that venue, I entered into that auditorium where 6 halls are there. But in front of one hall, there were around 30-40 people. They are trying to push this door and then see what is happening inside. I am wondering why only in one hall such people are there means. That hall capacity is 70, but there are around 150 people already inside and there are 30 people who are waiting outside. I didn't understand why. Then I understood. There are some people who know the value of this man's presentation, S.K. Kulkarni, to know what is his expertise, what is his experience, to listen to that man. 17 hall capacity was already double and then it is full. All the chairs, people are standing and listening to his lecture. People are standing outside. If somebody is coming out, let me go inside. That much of demand for that particular lecture. Only then we understood, okay. It's not because he has written experimental pharmacology book. Senior professors, senior researchers, industrial experts, everyone were listening to, where they were waiting to listen to his lecture. You go and attend conferences, not to showcase yourself. See what the experts are showcasing. This habit is declining. Okay? So, whenever you get an opportunity, do attend, not just roaming outside. When the scientific sessions are going on, go and attend that particular sessions. Sometimes it can be a life-turning moment. Just by attending that particular session, your whole concept or whole idea may change. For many people, such wonders has happened. And with your peers means who are at your level, maybe your seniors too. Discuss with them and then try to get their ideas. Okay? You try to get some ideas from them, try to learn from them. So get some ideas from your peers. And very importantly, don't go in a diverse area. Don't look into so many areas. Take only 1 or 2 areas and be very clear about it and start thinking about it. So, if you want to be more successful, try to define 1 or 2 areas and try to define focused question on that particular area. Which concept is very simple. Don't think so many. Think 1 or 2, focus on it. Next. You do whatever you want, but make sure that you have some money. Okay? So make sure that either I am able to spend from my packet or I can make use of somebody to spend for me or I can get some funding. Start thinking on that particular lines. It's not my tips. It's an expert tip from Cell Biology Association. That's why I have given their reference. So this is from a very leading international organization how to choose a research area. Now, this is what I want to personally tell you. How to get information, from where I can get my research idea. My recommendation is, you can get your research idea by searching in journal search engines or databases. I think being a final year or more than that, you might have heard about a database called PubMed, something called ScienceDirect, Scopus, Web of Science, Springer, Ovid. So these are some of the standard databases. So in all these scientific databases or search engines, there are thousands of journals are there. Some of them are freely accessible or open access. Go through all that, what articles they do, what sort of things they publish, which university is publishing more. Okay? Any such papers are being contributed by the industry. So create an account. Some of them doesn't need even account. You can straight away go and access the contents. So search for all this. Search for the articles in all this database. When you consistently do on this, at some point of time you will have a good research idea. You will understand which area will be very much suitable for me. Again, I am telling you, it's not just relevant to pharmacology alone. this concept is applicable for physics, analysis, regulatory, cognitive, chemistry, whatever you have, everything can use this. And it's not every time a search engine alone. You get your research idea from this thing. You can get your research idea from the company websites. How to get a research idea from a company website? Very simple. We all are speaking about one concept. After studying, we should be having that employability skills which are required by the industry. That means we should be industry ready. Whatever industry requires, that skill we should have. And everyone for many years they are saying one concept. Institution or colleges doesn't provide industry ready graduates. Industry will always say this complaint. And if someone asks to the industry, what you have done to the colleges? They will say that I have given seminar, this and that, but nothing useful. Now we have to learn by ourselves, but by taking the help of the industry. For example, if as a PG pharmacology student, you want to know in which area if I develop my skill, I can get a job in an industry. What you need to do? Go and open the company websites, see what sort of research they are doing, especially in the areas of pharmacology, what sort of models they have been practicing, what equipments they have. Try to develop that skill on that particular model or try to learn to use that particular equipment. You got a skill, now you are industry ready, simple. So they don't want to come to you, you don't want to go to them, just take the clue from them, take the idea from them, develop your skills, make yourself ready. And I have given you a tips for that. How to find out the industry names? Very simple. For example, for pharmacology people, I am giving you this clue. There is a PDF document, if you Google it, CPCSEA registered establishment. That means this PDF document has somewhere around 5,000 or 6,000 industries or institutions where all these animal studies are being carried out. All the companies, all the institution names are there. Just first name, origin, Google, origin. See what sort of research they are doing. Next company, Suven Life Sciences. Search for Suven Life Sciences. And again I am telling you, I am just giving you an example of pharmacology only. But it doesn't mean that Suven Life Sciences or origin will have only pharmacology department. It will have analysis department. It will have clinical research department. It will have medicinal chemistry department. So it's just to open that site, you will get to know about many things. Okay, so you get from that. I have given an example here. Panacea Bio. Just this is like you go and open Panacea Biotech company and see what sort of job they have, what sort of activities they have. You try to do some research in that particular area. Now you are always ready for Panacea Biotech. Now you have done some research which is making you ready for going and doing an industrial job. So search from company's website. To find out the company's name, make use of this sort of document. Okay? Now I have mentioned Naipar Mohali. In India, Naipar is one of the premier institutions for pharmaceutical education, isn't it? So now, just to go and open Naipar Mohali site, there is a concept called research output. There is a link called research output. If you click on that particular link, there will be many subdivisions. Like what are the patents they have got, what are the research funding they have got, what are the technology transfer they have done. There will be many informations. So tomorrow, you want to do some research which has the potential to get funding from the government. You want to get an idea. Simply what you do? Go and check these sort of premier institution websites for what sort of project they got funding, just to see that. Get an idea. Similarly, you also try to develop one thing. Don't copy their title. By copying their title, you will not get grant. You have to understand which sort of areas are being funded in general. You will get to know. Of course, when I am preparing for this, I wanted to replace Naipar Mohali with Naipar. But when I searched for yours, You have a lot of grant, ongoing project, funded projects, so many are there. But when there are many people, very diverse people sitting here, I come and show that Riper has so much of funding all this. Okay? It's not about showcasing about myself or not showcasing because they have given me an opportunity to come and speak. That will not be the ideal one. I can speak about Riper when I go and speak to somebody else. Okay? When I go somewhere, I have to go and say what is unique in this particular college. Okay? So now for students from Riper and for the other fellow participants, I want to share. You get some idea about different research areas which has the potential for funding by referring to these set of sites. First, being a student of this college, you see what are the contents in your own website. See what sort of funding this college has obtained. You will get your confidence. I told you one information that I came to this college to get some collaborative work done or thing. But there was one student in my own college. She has completed her B.Pharmacy just few days back, and she was asking, "Sir, can you name some institutions in Tamil Nadu where I can go and do my PG?" Then I told you why this state has so many potential colleges. And she said, "Can you name some?" Is it surprising? A final year completed student is asking me, "Can you name some good colleges in my own state?" What should I say? By working in Babata Raja Pharmacy, can I recommend to another college? Sir, is it ethical? No. Why can't our own college? Why can't our own pharmaceutics department? At least you don't trust pharmacology department, at least Sutics department is doing well. Why can't you do it in Sutics? This was my question. Still, being a final year student, some interest to go outside, leave this atmosphere, go and do something different. That interest should be there. One way that is good. And I told you, just give me 2 more days time. I am going somewhere. Okay? That institution, I heard that it is one of the good institutions. Let me go there and see what is the situation there, what those people are doing. I have some visualizations in my mind. Whether that is real or not, let me go and see. Then I will tell you whether you can go and do your PG there or not. And I said, "Yes, sir, I will be waiting for 2 days." So this event is a report card which I will go and tell to my own student from my own college that yes, I have seen there is an opportunity. Go on there, you will get something new. What is the purpose of traveling? To learn, to collaborate, and to help someone, my own student, to say whether this place is very suitable for her PG studies or not. Did you understand how chances are being created? You understood the value? While eating, every point was regarding what you have been doing, whether your college PG students are coming regularly, whether your colleges conduct classes regularly. This was our question. Why the questions are being asked? To answer somebody. Somebody is not my management. To my own student whom I want to help. Or my student who asked me that information, sir, whether I can go and do my PG study over there. This is something like that. Okay? And if you want to get a research idea, directly open DBT, DST, ICM, these are the funding agency website you open. And every year they will say that this is the projects which we have funded. So just go through the titles for what sort of project titles they are given the funding. You will get some clue. There will be a spark which will be generated somewhere. Okay? So you can also search and get some clue from all these funding agency websites. And this is very important. You get some research idea also from the job search engines. You know, websites like Naukri, Time Jobs website, this is the place where you apply for a job. But when you apply for a job, you will get some recommendation. This company has this opportunity. But if you want to take up this job in my company, you should be skilled in PCR technique. You should be skilled in ELISA. Like that, they will give the job description. Now it's very easy. You do some research where ELISA is applied, you get some skills with ELISA technique, now you are job ready. So you make use of that opportunity in a reverse way. Don't just look into this job search engines for applying for a job. First get an idea where all the potentials are there, which technique if I learn, tomorrow industry will take me very easily. Morning we have a discussion with your faculty whether you have more opportunities for skills in vivo techniques or whether you have skills for cellular and molecular or in vitro techniques. Answer was in vitro techniques because there are very less number of people there. There are no people to train us in the cellular and molecular pharmacology area. So that is one area where you can explore. So make use of job search engines. See, whatever I am highlighting now, each one is like a workshop content. How to search in this job engines, how to search in this journal search engines, each one is a separate thing. But I am just giving you the highlights. Start thinking about it. Start searching. Start exploring. You will get some useful data. And you may always think Facebook is there to chat. Facebook is a very big source of information to get research area. Just by Facebook friendship, I got introduced to a person, a researcher in India, who has been an editor of a textbook for Springer Nature. He gave me an opportunity to write one book chapter. Now you won't believe, after getting that one book chapter opportunity within the last 3 years, around 5 to 6 book chapters are with Springer. We have the opportunity to write a book chapter just by Facebook friendship. Using Facebook effectively is again another important tool. I am not saying just for personal chatting, it is for professional chatting. Okay, make use of the tool very effectively. LinkedIn is a very big tool, very big professional tool to get your research idea. Okay, so just it's all glimpse. Okay, just start thinking, start exploring all this. Is it boring? Boring? Okay, so now let me tell you to my title. What should be there in a study design? When you want to design a preclinical study, what should be the contents? And now whatever I am presenting here, it is there in your sheet. Yeah, you can see checklist for reporting experimental animal models in Alzheimer's disease. It is there. Actually, this headings what I am telling is something which has to be there in the report after completing the study. But you have to make use of this data in a reverse manner. Don't just think this checklist for submitting it as a report. Even for planning your work also you can plan it in the same way. You got it? So it's not just for reporting a preclinical study. You can make use of this information even for designing or even for conducting a study also. Okay, so in that way, let me tell you, if you want to do an animal study in a mice, rat or a rabbit or anything, whatever is available at the academic, I'm going to speak only at the college level, I'm not speaking at the industrial level. Whatever highlighted here will be something which is focused to a college level or a university level. So first of all, for any study, okay, you finalize the title not before the study. This is something after the study, but this is also one of the conditions. You decide a title. The title should be very accurate, not lengthy, very concise, but it has to describe what is there in that particular study. Okay? No vague titles, no lengthy titles, no meaningless titles. Very clear, concise titles has to be there explaining or describing the contents. Like that you have to decide. Now, for every study, you should be able to write an abstract that what was your aim, what was the methodology you followed, how did you interpret the results, and what was your research, and what is the significance or outcome of the research, and finally you can add 1 or 2 lines about what can be done in the future further on that research what you have done. Okay, that means what else you can do in the future. So all that put together, a brief abstract about your work you have to write, and then it's the next component. You have to write the introduction part of your work. So in introduction there are many subheadings. First one is called background. What is the background of that particular work? Now what should be there in the background? It should have the relevant references so that it will motivate the people to give importance to that particular study. So we have to provide all the sufficient scientific information with suitable references so that whoever is going to read that particular report or whoever is going to read that proposal will get motivated to read, and then they will be able to understand what is there in that particular study. Now, what is the rationale? Rationale means what is the logic, what is the purpose, why you have to do that particular study. So any study you do, you should have some logic or it should have some purpose. So what is the rationale and purpose? That has to be described in brief in the introduction part. And which animal model you are going to follow. So there are, being at the final year or more than that. In preclinical side we have 3 things like in vitro models, then you have in vivo models, then you have in silico models. So 3 major categories. So you decide which model you are going to follow, whether you are going to follow an in vitro one, in vivo one, or you are going to base you want to do something with the help of computer assisted technology. So, and how does it, whatever model you are selecting, how it is going to fulfill your objective and how it is going to be relevant to the target disease. So you have to plan and then you have to select the appropriate animal model. Now, in the introduction part, the next heading is hypothesis and objectives. Being for a pharmacy student, there is a word called hypothesis. You know what is the meaning of hypothesis? Huh? How will you define hypothesis? Any familiar? Some films you hear, it's a hypothetical question. You know, robot film, Rajinikanth's film. Sir, to test the knowledge of that supercomputer or that robot, humanoid robot, one person will be asking, is there God is there or not?
It's a statement.
So,
It's not true.
it's a statement?
It is not true.
Okay, it's not true. Very good. So somebody asked that question to that scientist, is there God? Then the robot will answer for that question by saying, it's a hypothetical question, but still I'll answer. How? Doctor who created me is there, isn't it? Then my answer is yes, God is there, isn't it? Yes or no? It's a hypothetical question, but still there is an answer. But only we need to search and we need to convince them scientifically. So for every research we do, there is a hypothesis, 2 categories. One, that hypothesis needs to be explored, exploratory hypothesis. Okay? And second type of hypothesis is confirmatory. That means it is there, but you have to confirm it is there. So confirmatory hypothesis. So for every research, either you need to explore something and then find, and the other one you have to confirm yes it is there. So it is up to you to decide for my research whether I am going to have something which is exploratory in nature or which is something confirmatory in nature. Am I going to confirm something or am I going to explore something? It's up to you. Okay, so my study should have some hypothesis and it should be having some objectives. When I fulfill all these objectives one by one, whatever was my ultimate aim, that should be able to be achieved within a given time point. Now, what is the description of that? Under hypothesis or objectives, clearly describe what type of hypothesis it is, and what sort of an objectives you have developed, so that you are going to test that particular hypothesis. Okay. Again, in hypothesis, there are two concepts. One is you develop that or you generate that hypothesis, or you test that particular hypothesis. So here I have used the word test the hypothesis. There is another one more concept where you can generate the hypothesis. You yourself can generate that question. Those things are more technical, but over a period of time we will understand. But at least remember that every research idea has some sort of a hypothesis in it. That hypothesis can be exploratory in nature, or it can be confirmatory in nature. At this point, remember these words. Now the next major content of your research idea is that material methods. So under material methods, first category is ethical statement. It's very, very important whenever you do some professional research activity related to pharmacy. You have to follow some ethics. So whenever you do some animal study, whenever you do some human studies, get some ethical review permissions. If it is an animal study, get an institutional animal ethics committee approval. If it is a human-based study, get human ethics committee approval. And you should have a relevant license. For example, your college has animal house, and periodically that animal house IAC will be reconstituted and that license will be retained, so that only then this college can do animal study. Okay, so a relevant licenses should be there, and then we have to follow some national or international guidelines whenever you do such animal studies. For example, in India, whenever you want to do any animal study, there is a guideline called CPC-SEA. Okay, you have to follow the CPC-SEA guidelines, get the approval of IAC, and your animal house should be an approved animal house from this CPC-SEA. All these things matter, only then you can do a proper animal study in this particular college. And it's very important, not just getting permission, having license, following guidelines. Ultimately, all these things are for one particular aspect only. Whatever animal study you do, you have to take care of the animals correctly, and you have to use the animals correctly. Okay. Now, why do you want this animal? Justify the use of the animals whenever you plan the study. Why should you select rat? Why should you select mice? Why should you select a rabbit? Why you need some other animal species? So for any type of animal species you are using, any type of strain you are using, any number you are using, there should be always a justification. And in the study design part, you have to know how many groups you are going to have. How many groups you are going to have. So you might have heard about a word called control groups. Okay, you have positive control, negative control, naive control, sham control, like this many control groups, and you have many treatment groups, you have standard groups, like this. How many groups are going to be there? And how many types of control groups are required for your study? All these things you have to know. And how you are going to randomize these groups. Randomization is very important in order to avoid bias, okay, or to avoid irrelevant data being generated, or to prevent unscientific data from being generated. So how you are going to randomize this study groups, and how you are going to implement the concept of blinding. Blinding means the investigator should not know what result they are going to get, okay, so that the bias can be avoided. And whether you are going to use a single animal, whether you are going to use a group of animal, or whether you are going to consider it as a cage of animal, and then whatever is the number of animal in that cage, everything will be considered as a single data. So individual animal, group of animals, or a cage of animals. So this has to be decided. And in case if your study is going to be very complex, then what you do? Make a timeline diagram. When I am going to start, how many months I am going to take. After this step, what is the next step which is going to be followed? Whether I am having all the resources ready, whether I have got all the permissions, whether I have got the manpower to do it. So all this you put together as a timeline diagram or a flow chart, so that you will have a very clear path how you want to do the research. Okay. And now coming to the experimental procedure. For every experiment or for every group, we have to provide all this detail. What is that? How? Means which is the test item we are going to use. Whether it is a plant extract or it is an isolated compound, whether it is a phytochemical reference standard, whether it is a complex mixture, okay? So whether it is from a biological source, you think about all that and see what is that, and through which route you are going to give, what is the dose you are going to administer, okay? And whether that technique requires any anesthetic to be used, because the animal may suffer from pain or something like that, and whether any pain relievers has to be used, and whether you need any specific equipment for that study, and from where you have to get that particular equipment, and in which time of the day you are going to do the experiment. You cannot do one experiment. For example, 5 groups are there. You do control group morning, and then you do the other groups in the afternoon, and the next day you should not reverse it. That means other groups in the morning and the control group in the afternoon. You cannot alter this. So you have to have a very clear plan when you are going to do it and which part of the time or in which time of the day you are going to do it. And where you are going to do the study, whether you are going to do the study in the cage itself, or you are going to bring the animal to the laboratory and going to do the study, or whether you want an equipment to use, so that in that equipment you want to observe the animal. So where you are going to make that study, and why, what is the purpose, why you have selected a particular route of administration, why you have selected a particular dose, everything is to be highlighted. And remember, there is some symbols I have used here. I have used for example, a star symbol here, and it's like an upward arrow symbol here. This symbol is something which I have used to mention that this is mandatory, and this symbol which I have used here at the end of something is something which is recommended. If you write that, it will be very effective. Okay. So, but in this document which I have given you, it is mentioned as C and R. C is compulsory, R is recommended. Okay. Now the next one is about the animals. You have to mention which animal species it is, whether it is a rat, mice or a rabbit. Strain is something, whether it is a Worcester rat, ST rat or what rat it is, which gender to that animal belongs, whether it's a male rat, female rat, male and female together, all this, and which age group animal you have to use, what is the weight range, and don't use the words like murine. Always use a particular animal species. Sometimes they will say rodents. Rodent has many examples. Murine, many examples. What animal species exactly it is? There should not be any ambiguity. Very clearly you have to mention the species. And you have to write from where you are going to procure the animal. Whether you are going to procure from the nearby college, or whether you are going to procure from a CPCSE registered breeder. Okay, but that person should have a license, and you also should have a license. Sometimes you need to procure the animal from international suppliers. Okay, so all this has to be done. And in case of transgenic mice, your background information about the wild type mice has to be given, more technical. And regarding how you safeguard the animals, where you keep that animal, whether the animal house in which you keep that animal, whether it is pathogen free, the cage in which the animals are kept, whether it is clean, whether the bedding material is often changed, how many animals you keep in a cage, that also matters. For example, in a rat cage you can keep a maximum of 5 animal means. Because of cage problem, you cannot keep 10 rats per cage. Okay, so how many number of animals you are going to keep in a cage, and how you are going to breed the animals, whether you have the permission to breed or not, whether you are following 12 hours light and 12 hours dark cycle. That means animals should have only artificial light for 12 hours. Then definitely you have to put up the light, and the animal has to be remaining in the dark. Only then its behavior will be retained. Temperature is a very important criterion, and what food you are going to give to the animal, and what water you are going to provide to the animal. What about the environment? Say for example, like humidity, how much it has to be there, and whether you are continuously monitoring the welfare of the animal before, during and after the experiment. All these things has to be mentioned. Sample size, how many animals you are going to use. So for the assessment or for the intervention, how many number of animals you are going to use, that has to be mentioned. And for the replicative studies, how many number of animals you are going to use it, all this has to be mentioned. And how we are going to allot the animals to the group, you have to randomize the animal and you have to do matching. So what is randomization and matching? For example, in one group, you have 5 rats or 6 rats. All the 6 rats should be weight matched. Weight matched means, for example, one rat, if it is 250 gram, and the other rat cannot be 150 gram. So plus or minus 20 gram or 30 grams. So that all the 6 animals within that cage or within that particular group should not have plus or minus 30 grams weight difference. Okay. So this is something which is for randomization and matching, and how you are going to justify different experimental groups for the same study, how they are related and how they are different, and what is the outcome of your study, how you are going to determine it, very important component. Here one important point I want to tell you, why we are not able to produce quality publications, why we are not able to do quality research, why we are not able to do quality publication means, the articles which we are referring itself is not of a desired quality. We could directly go and search in Google, some substandard journal, substandard articles comes. By making use of that as a reference, we also follow the same method, we follow the same statistical method, we evaluate the same parameter which doesn't have any justification. Therefore, tomorrow when it's sent into a quality journal, they will not consider that parameter appropriate, that statistical calculation may not be an appropriate one, and because of all this, that journal may not accept your paper. So we have to do a proper assessment. Whatever parameters which you are measuring, everything should have some logic or it should have a justification towards what we expect from that particular study. And we have to use a proper statistical method or a statistical tool. For getting an idea for all this, you have to start referring to the standard articles. And how do you present your results? You have to give the weight, you have to give the microbiological status, and what was the status of the animal prior to treatment, and all this, whatever you said in the experimental design part, in the same order, you are going to give all the results, what you got from it. And this is one area where we are very, very weak. We do some good work, but the problem is we don't know to interpret the result properly, and even after interpreting the result also, we are unable to discuss the results properly. By comparing with the earlier studies, how to discuss our results correctly. This is one particular area where most of the researchers from the undergraduate level to the PhD level, we all are weak in that particular area. So a lot of reading, a lot of practice is very much required. Only then we can improve in this area. And if we improve in this discussion area, definitely our papers will have a very high chance of getting accepted. So remember, discussion means you got some result. That result has to be compared with the earlier studies. Whether it is very similar to that, how, if in case it is different, how it is different, whether it is giving some meaningful finding or outcome, all this has to be clearly explained with each and every parameter which you have measured during that study. And very importantly, translation. Translation means you have done some work, but whether it is going to be useful for anything later, or whether it is just going to help you to get a publication or just going to complete your thesis alone, whether it can be translated to the next level. That means you have isolated a compound, whether you can make a product out of that particular compound, whether you can bring out a formulation out of it, whether you can exploit any commercial output from that. So that is called translational. And when you do all the above properly, sooner or later, you have the potential to get funding for your further research activities. So all this has to be carefully planned and reported properly, and in future or over a period of time, we will increase our chances for getting grants for our studies. And conflict of interest means You have a friend, he's a publisher, he's an editor of the journal, okay? You just to send, because he's an editor of the journal, he's your good friend, you are sending to him, whatever mistake is there, whatever is substandard, but still he considers and then he'll do it. And sometimes somebody might have really contributed, you neglect them and then you say that it's my own work. Sometimes, like all this, conflicts of interest. This has to be properly declared whenever you do the study. Again, whatever we have highlighted above, this is not mine, this is from an author, Amor et al. Very clearly they have given. But the point which I am saying here is, you can use the checklist for two things. To design and conduct the study also, you can use the same checklist. When you have done the study and when you want to develop a report, even a UG level project or a PG level project, when you have all the contents of the checklist fulfilled in your thesis, that means your thesis is of required quality. Okay, so make use of this. This checklist can be effectively used whenever you are writing a research proposal for a funding agency, or once the study is being done, when you write a report, you write a report on the basis of all these headings. So you can use it for both of these, design and conduct as well as for reporting. Okay. So for some people, something may be difficult to understand, but at some point of time you will understand the value of all this. Okay. At least you will be able to listen to what I am saying. Okay. And finally, I want to conclude by saying only one word, not one word, two words. Start early. Anything, start early. What is this? I don't know what is this picture means. Okay? Putting a jogging shoes, wearing a band, hearing music, walking. Is that meaning? Have an early morning walk, maybe that one. It's not just about the early morning walk to keep yourself healthy. Okay, for anything, start early. Don't wait for the time to arrive. Sometimes that time will never come. Okay, so this is one last message which we want to share through this particular lecture or through this particular presentation. So whether you are a B.Pharmacy student, whether you are masters or whether you are a PhD or whether you are faculty, irrespective of your experience level, for anything which you want to do, you need to start early, and over a period of time you will get the significance. Thank you. If you have anything to ask, is there any questions? Ma'am, you got something?
Very nice. I've given introduction to process.
For students, is there any questions?
Sir, what is the first thing? You need to go for patent first, then publish it. Publishing is should go for patent. So it is the application of.
Sometimes published data may not be considered for patents. So if you are very sure that this work is of a patent stuff, straight away start thinking about patent. Don't think of any other sources. It should not be there. And it will be the other way. You are bypassing or you are challenging your own scope of patent. That will make you not to consider for your patent.
revealing your ideology,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
presenting your
So first,
So first of all, you will have an idea whether my stuff is a stuff for patent or not. If you are very clear that this is of a patent stuff, very confident, go ahead with patent status. Don't even think about other research reports.
I want to know what is your research area?
My research area, madam, I was telling for past from 7 to 17, I explored all the preclinical area, whatever is possible in the college. Then I realized whenever I applied for funding and when of my major research proposals were rejected, I found the answer very clearly. I should not work for many areas. Now, during my masters and my PhD days, my technical skill is for subarachnoid hemorrhage. So I think you might have heard about middle cerebral artery occlusion for inducing stroke in the animal. Cerebral ischemia is the most commonly practiced stroke model throughout the world. But I did my M-Pharmacy project in Torrent R&D, Gujarat. So there, at that time, they developed the subarachnoid hemorrhage model. That is, whenever somebody goes and meets with a car accident and severe bleeding occurs in their brain tissue, and the chance of survival is very less. So you create cerebral bleeding in the animal and then give some neuroprotective agents which will be not able to save the life, but at least it will try to reduce the vasospasm. It will reduce the complications. So my technical skill area is subarachnoid hemorrhage model. The word middle cerebral artery occlusion. Occlusion is for ischemia. My word is middle cerebral artery perforation, bleeding. That is one area. And now that particular model requires lot of animals. That means you cannot do it with 6 animals per group. If you are creating a cerebral bleeding in the animal, if you experiment it with 60 animals, with the different grades of bleeding, you will get it in 6 or 7 animals. So every group should have minimum 60 to 100 animals. Only then you will have such a model. So practically no institution will be able to provide for each group 60 or 100 animals. And no IAC will be ready to accept. So then I understood, okay, that skill is always going to remain with me because I have done it for my PhD work also. But after that, it cannot be explored much. Now I shifted my area to only one particular thing about Alzheimer's. So now we have created a behavioral research pharmacology lab. We are bringing in different types of behavioral research equipments. And we are trying to create that lab. So now my actual area of research is Alzheimer's disease, learning and memory. I am now focusing only on that particular area. Any consultancy work or anything like that, or any collaborative work, I am just focusing only on this particular thing, not anything other than this. But one other thing which I am trying to do is, other than this area, now I am trying to bring people who are in need of, for example, if someone is asking, I want to do a cellular level study, I am trying to communicate, I am trying to bridge two different people who has that expertise, who is in need of this. I am trying to bridge these two people. By bridging these two people, I am trying to learn from these two people. Only that work I am presently doing. And my one important purpose of this visit is to find out what sort of research activities are happening in this institution. The people who are here, faculty member, what area they are doing. Is there any possibility for research collaboration? And if there is no possibility of research collaboration, when I know that they are expert in that particular area, when any one of my friend or somebody is asking me, can you refer someone who is an expert or where this facility is available? I just want to connect these two people. Only that much.
I hope every student and participant can utilize this session. So sir has already told us how we can start our research work. So with this idea you can start your research work. And it's time to honor our resource person. So I request Dr. Somshekar Reddy sir, Dr. Pradeep Kumar sir and Sudhir sir to felicitate our resource person Satish Kumar sir with shower and memento.
Thank you very much.